They finally did it, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't think they were going to do it. It was said that they weren't going to do it, but they did it. They finally added C-Log 3 to the Canon R6. I'm so happy that they did. When it came out for the R5, I was so bummed out. I think many of us were so bummed out that it didn't come to the R6 as well. But thank you C-Log gods. Thank you Canon for giving us C-Log 3. With that being said, it's not like the biggest difference from C-Log 1, but if you use it right, you can definitely get more out of C-Log 3 than you can out of C-Log 1. So I compared C-Log 1 and C-Log 3, and you can tell that there's not that big of a difference, nothing drastic, but if you look closely, you can see that the contrast curve looks a whole lot more natural. If you look at like the lighting on my wife's face on the top of her head, you can see that there's a bit of a smoother transition from the highlights to the shadows. And if you look at C-Log, it's a bit of a harsher transition. So it's not going to be the hugest difference, but it does make your footage look a little bit more natural. And you know, C-Log 3, it's in all the cinema cameras, so it's going to make it a whole lot easier to match a color grade with cinema cameras. It makes this camera makes it a whole lot more epic. I also really prefer the colors of C-Log 3. It looks a little less saturated, and the colors just look more natural as well. Overall, I'm really stoked out with C-Log 3, and I'll do some future tutorials on how to color grade it and what LUTs I actually use for C-Log 3, specifically the Rec 709 kind of LUTs that really just make my footage look really good. But I will also show you how to do it manually, so you don't have to buy these LUTs. They're not any of my personal LUTs. They're a couple other people's LUTs that I've found that I've liked. So I'll recommend those in a future video as well. The next thing we need is C-Log 2. I don't know if that'll work on some mirrorless cameras. Not too sure about that. I mean, Sony has S-Log 1, 2, and 3 in all their cameras, I'm pretty sure, on all their mirrorless cameras. So I don't see why Canon couldn't. C-Log 2. Let's all shoot for that. So C-Log 3 is not the only thing that came from this update. Another pretty awesome thing has come, which is dual card recording. Now, the Canon R6 didn't have that before, in case you didn't know. And that's going to allow like you to back up your footage. So if you're a wedding shooter, rest assured your footage can be backed up. I think there might be some kind of limit to it. I'm actually not entirely sure. I haven't done my research on that part because I don't really do dual card recording, but I know that it is capable of dual card recording. So if you are shooting weddings, it's going to help out a lot. Or if you're doing any client work, it's going to be a tremendous help. And it makes this camera a lot more on the pro end of the spectrum instead of the prosumer and stuff like that. You have dual card recording, you have things like S-Log 3 to get better dynamic range. It's really boosting this camera to a higher level. So yeah, I'll play around with the dual card recording and give you guys a better understanding of how that works in a future video, but this is kind of just an update video of all the new things that have come for the R6. So I really feel like this update really did put this camera to another level. It's going to make it so you can pair your footage with even the Canon R5, since the Canon R5 has C-Log 3. It makes it so if you have R5 and R6, they're both really good companion cameras. You'll be able to match your footage really well. And man, I'm really happy that I actually chose to get the R6 over the R5 due to my budget. It kind of allowed me to invest into, you know, a better lens, which is the RF 15-35 instead of keeping the EF 16-35. So I'm really happy that they added C-Log 3. It makes it feel like, you know, I spent all this money on the R6. It's still an expensive camera, and I'm getting what I paid for. Because if they didn't add C-Log 3, I'd be really bummed out. I would have something to say to Canon. The rain clouds are starting to come back. We've had non-stop rain. It felt really good just to get outside and film a video, but I see a huge rain cloud coming, so I'll probably have to wrap this video up. If you're interested in seeing any more on C-Log 3 or the dual card recording, then just hit that subscribe button, because I'll have lots of future videos on that. We'll go around, we'll test every aspect of C-Log 3 and get those settings dialed in to get the most dynamic range you can ever get. Yeah. All right, guys, I love you, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.